boring Vietnamese son of a bitches. Beautiful day on the island. Going to work here. A work going to jerk. No, a jerk going to work. I knew I'd get that right. There are ducks everywhere, man. This is duck heaven. There was a bad duck hunting season this year, and there are just ducks everywhere. So that's a good thing, I say. I like the wildlife. But right now, I want to talk about the mark of the beast. I believe we are in the days of the mark of the beast. I believe that the great deception, here we go, more duckies and goosies. I believe the great deception is narcissism. That's the great deception. And everyone has been deceived. But many people will realize the deception and they will climb out of that hole. Although being involved in the system, you really can't get out of that hole. But now I've talked about the days of Noah, and of course these days we live in now reflect the days of Noah almost precisely. Technology is a little bit different, but it's there. And then I talked a short time about the days of Lot. And our society also reflects the days of Lot heavily. In the days of Lot, you know, you couldn't go in the city because the cities were like bastions of thieves and these gay people that would beat up people and try to rape people, rapers and murderers and thieves and things like that. And you know, it's the same thing. Now, the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is just being in compliance with the system. That's all. That's it. You know, it does say somewhere, like in Revelation or something, there's going to be some kind of mark on the hand or the head. But you know, they don't really know because they couldn't figure this one out. You know, you got to look at this. These guys were having visions 2,000 years in the history, and they couldn't understand, you know, biometrics and cameras and ways to identify a person. You don't have to mark them. You don't have to have a tag number on a person. It's easy to identify somebody nowadays, and they don't even know they're being identified. But beyond that, I don't think that's the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is just being in compliance with the system. You know, when children are born now, this is what happens. Someone comes into after your child is born, they come into the room with you and your wife, and what do they say? They say, you are the proud parents of the bouncing baby girl. Now that you are the proud parents, you must get her an identification number. Please sign the paper, and you will be issued a identification number for your offspring, and everything will be fine. And I, you know, I would say like, well, I don't really want to get them the Social Security number. You know, I mean, they're only children. You know, I mean, they're not going to be going to work. I didn't get mine until I went to work. Oh no. But there are benefits to getting the Social Security numbers, the identification numbers, which would be tax incentives. Yeah, I can live without the tax incentives right now. You know, I don't really need it. You know, I bring in pretty good money. Oh, but there are the penalties that have to be paid if the identification number is not issued. See, it's a whole thing. Nowadays, children, firstborn, have to have their number. And my guess is probably before they're born, you know, they'll have to have it pretty soon. But they have to have that number. Now, try to get a job without a Social Security number. You can work under the table, but you're not going to do too well. You know, try to work without it. We all are identified. And now we're going to have this Obamacare identification number on our tax forms also. But the mark of the beast is simply being in compliance with the system. It's complying. It's taken your spot in society where they put you. Your education, your religious training, everything in life. Everything you see nowadays, because the billboards, television, the media, society, entertainment society, everything you see is putting you in this funnel. And this funnel, you are funneled towards what you're supposed to be, what you think your idea is supposed to be. Because you don't even know what that is, because you've been trained to accept an idea of what you're supposed to be. And when you are trained and you have a master's degree or a bachelor's degree and you are thoroughly trained, indoctrinated in the system, then you can start passing judgment on others who don't agree with it. And you are more of an authority figure because you have this piece of paper that gives you a high degree, which is really just more brainwashing. That means you are brainwashed to the gills, and they can count on you to carry out their plan. That's all that means. To be in non-compliance to the system is not easy. You simply, number one, start out being a non-consumer. Don't buy pot. Don't buy. Try to do everything in your community. You know, you can have a social security number, you can have to be compliant with the system, but you can pray to God every day to get you out of this system, and you don't want to be compliant. You can tell God, hey, look, this is not for me. I didn't, you know, I just now realize this is going on, and I don't really want it, but there's no way to get out of it. Especially in a society that depends mostly on credit to survive. Well, that's my speech for today. It's beautiful on the island. The mark of the beast is here. Make no doubt about that. You're not going to fly away. Look, back in Noah's day, they had preachers and they had, you know, well, rabbis back in those days or whatever, and they were saying the same thing. You're going to fly away. Nothing's going to happen to you. Well, it didn't happen. Okay? And Noah was probably saying the same thing. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, man. This is going to happen. You know, this is the most evil society. And they were saying, no, just give your tithes and everything will be okay. Just don't worry. Just don't think about it, and it won't bother you. Now, this is beautiful. Photosynthesis is starting to occur. Life is going to explode this week, man. This is going to be it. The catalyst is lit, and life is going to explode, even though the earth is really stressed. The animals are stressed, the earth is stressed. I'll go on that later. Peace out.